Hi YouTube, welcome to my channel. I've decided to start the 80-day obsession workout program, and I figured I would take you along through my journey. So today is prep day, it's Sunday, and I start the program tomorrow. So today I'm going to take you through my meal prep to see how I'm going to prep some of my meals for this coming week. I'm not going to prep everything today for the week because I want some items to be fresh. So I may prep some ingredients this week, and then I will cook the actual meal during the week. So let me start by showing you my menu for the week. You can disregard Sunday because that's today, and I'm not eating on plan today. I'm trying to eat healthy enough, but it may not be everything that's on plan for 80-day obsession. So for my meal plan, I get 4 red containers, which is 4 proteins, 2 yellow containers, which is carbs, 4 green containers, which is vegetables, 1 blue container, which is a healthy fat, and I think it's 1 orange container, which is salad dressings, seeds, or olives. So that's my breakdown for what I'm going to be eating. And I think I get 3 teaspoons of like oils and almond milk. So this is my menu. I'm starting in the morning before my workout with a protein shake and an orange, and some days I'll do a smoothie. So post-workout, immediately after the workout, I'll do a fruit. I have here grapes and apples at the later part of the week. And then for breakfast, I'm going to have the same thing for breakfast. It's going to be oatmeal, a boiled egg, turkey sausage that I'm going to make. And for my vegetables, I'm going to do sauteed onions and peppers. And then for lunch, first part of the week is baked chicken, potatoes, and string beans. And the second part of the week is going to be turkey cacciatore. Well, it's turkey meatballs in a cacciatore sauce. And the LITK means it's a recipe by Laura in the Kitchen. She's on YouTube and has some great recipes if you want to check her out. And then brown rice and broccoli. And for my snack, it's going to be the same all week. It will be baby carrots and grape tomatoes combined to make 1 green container, and then hummus, and that's my blue container. And for dinner, I will have a honey chicken recipe, which is again by Laura in the Kitchen. Now for my husband, he'll have brown rice, and for me, I'll have cauliflower rice. And then for him, roasted broccoli and carrots, because my cauliflower rice will be my veggie, but I might add in the broccoli and carrots for me as well. And later in the week, I'll have a salad, which will be baked chicken, and then I'll have the lettuce, tomatoes, and red onions in my salad with salad dressing, and my husband will have brown rice and broccoli or carrots or both. So that is my menu for the week. So I have my list of items that I need to meal prep today, and we're looking at the list here. First, I'm going to do boiled eggs, then I'm going to make the brown rice, then I'm going to make the turkey sausages and season the chicken for the chicken and potatoes for tomorrow. I'm going to cook the peppers and onions for the breakfast tomorrow. I'm going to cut up the broccoli and carrots for the roasted broccoli and carrots. I'm going to cut up the onions, bell pepper, and mushrooms for the turkey meatballs in the cacciatore sauce. That's later in the week. I'm going to pulse the cauliflower in the food processor for the cauliflower rice. Mix together the Southwest seasoning mix. That's for the baked chicken later in the week for my salad. Then I'm going to portion out my grapes for my fruit and portion out the baby carrots and tomatoes for my snack. And later on tonight, I'm going to put the oatmeal, steel cut oatmeal, in the slow cooker to cook overnight so it'll be ready in the morning. Okay, I'm starting with the boiled eggs as we saw on the list. I put 10 eggs in a pot of water. I'm adding some salt. And then I'll just turn it on to high and let it boil. When it comes to a boil, I'll turn off the heat, cover the eggs, and set them aside for about 15 minutes, and then we'll have perfectly boiled eggs. While the eggs are boiling, I'm going to start my brown rice. So I'm doing 1 cup of brown rice, so I'll do 2 cups of water. Then add my brown rice. Turn on the heat. Add a little bit of salt. Stir it up a bit. And when it comes to a boil, turn it down to low, cover, and let it steam for about 30 minutes. Now we can move on to the turkey sausage. So I have 2 pounds of ground turkey. The recipe calls for 2 teaspoons salt. I usually use a little less, maybe 1.5 teaspoons. It calls for 2 teaspoons sage. I also use a little less because I notice when I use the amount that they ask for, it tastes a little processed, like what you would get already prepared from the grocery store. 1 teaspoon ground black pepper. Red pepper flakes is a 1/2 teaspoon, and a 1/4 teaspoon marjoram. I'm going to put all of these seasonings into the ground turkey and mix it up. Okay, now that the seasonings are in the ground turkey, I usually use a glove to mix it because I don't like to touch raw meat with my hands. It's just something that I have going on, so I just mix it around. Okay, after mixing in the seasonings, the recipe says to form the patties, the turkey sausages, in your hands, and then fry them on each side for about 4 to 5 minutes each side. But I've noticed when I do that, it takes a long time for the internal temperature to come up to 165 degrees. So instead, I just brown each side for about 3 minutes each, maybe 2 to 3 minutes each on each side, so that it becomes brown. And then I put it in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes for it to come up to 165 degrees. And that way, my smoke detector doesn't go off, because I know sometimes when we're frying things that your smoke detector will go off, and when I do it this way, I don't have that problem. Okay, so I'm ready to brown the turkey meat, and then we'll put it in the oven. First, I'm going to preheat the oven to 350, and then we'll turn on the heat to about medium high. Add a little vegetable oil, and then form the patties with your hands and put them into the frying pan. Then use a splatter guard to prevent the oil from splattering. After about 2 to 3 minutes, you can check to see if it's brown on the first side, and if so, you flip the patties. After another 2 to 3 minutes, once they're brown on the other side, you can remove them from the frying pan onto the baking sheet, and then repeat the process again. Once you have all of the patties on the baking sheet, you can put it in the oven and set your timer for approximately 11 minutes. Once your timer goes off, you can check the internal temperature of the patties with a meat thermometer, and once it reaches 165 degrees, you can take it out of the oven. Okay, next I'm going to season the chicken. What I have here are 4 chicken thighs and 5 chicken legs. To season it, we have rosemary, thyme, and those are upside down, but hopefully you can see that. Salt. I'm going to put about 2 teaspoons salt since we have about 3 pounds of meat. I don't like to put as much salt as usually is required. So then black pepper, 2 teaspoons paprika, 2 teaspoons granulated garlic, 2 teaspoons onion powder, 2 teaspoons sage. I think I'll put probably less sage as well, like I did for the turkey sausages. 1 tablespoon Dijon mustard, and about 1/3 cup of olive oil. Okay, first I'm going to cut up some of the rosemary. And then I just strip the thyme leaves off of the thyme stems, and I'm going to place that in the bowl. Next, I'm going to place the remainder of my seasonings in the bowl and mix it together. Then stir this around. And you have your marinade. Pour it on top of the chicken. And I usually use a glove because, as I said, I don't like to touch the raw meat. And then mix it together. Once the chicken is well coated with the marinade, I put plastic wrap on top and pop it in the fridge. Next, I'm going to make the sauteed peppers and onions. So I've already washed my veggies, and I'm going to cut the peppers and onions into strips. I actually decided to cut up my broccoli and carrots before I cooked the peppers and onions so that anything I needed the cutting board for, I can just do now, and then I can put the cutting board away. So I'm cutting up the broccoli, and I'm going to roast the broccoli and carrots together tomorrow. So I'll just cut them up into florets and put in a container. Next, I'm going to cut up the onions, bell pepper, and mushrooms for the turkey meatballs in the cacciatore sauce. I forgot I needed to cut up another onion for the spicy honey chicken, so I'm doing that next. The last item I need to cut up is the cauliflower for the cauliflower rice. And if you're wondering what this is a compost bin, so we compost. So any fruits and vegetables that I'm throwing away, I instead put in the compost bin, and then we just take it outside to be composted. My microphone died and I didn't realize until after I had replayed the video and noticed there was no sound. So I'll be doing a voiceover for this section. For the sauteed peppers and onions, I turn on the heat to medium-high and add olive oil. Once it comes up to temperature, I add the peppers and onions. For this night, I cooked all 4 peppers and 3 onions, but I noticed the peppers and onions looked a little old toward the end of the week. So now instead, I cut up all the peppers and onions at the beginning of the week and only cook half. Then I cook the other half later in the week, just an FYI. Then I stir the peppers and onions around to let the oil coat the peppers and onions. For seasonings, I add 1 teaspoon salt, ground black pepper, ½ teaspoon red pepper flakes, and ½ teaspoon or a full teaspoon oregano. I've also started adding a teaspoon of smoked paprika. Then stir together and let cook for approximately 15 minutes. When the 15 minutes is almost up or the texture of the peppers and onions is to your liking, you can add some minced garlic and 1 tablespoon red wine vinegar and stir that together. And that's it. That's your sauteed peppers and onions. While the peppers and onions were sauteing, I also portioned out my carrots and grape tomatoes, baby carrots and grape tomatoes for my snack that I'll eat with hummus. I'll just portion out the hummus each time since that's not as hard as washing the vegetables. For the smoky southwestern seasoning mix, I add together 1 tablespoon chili powder, 2 teaspoons ground cumin, 1 teaspoon ground coriander. I used cilantro leaves since I didn't have the ground coriander. The recipe calls for 1 teaspoon salt, but I use a little more salt than that. ½ teaspoon onion powder, ½ teaspoon garlic powder, ½ teaspoon dried oregano, and ½ teaspoon ground smoked paprika. And by the way, I got this recipe in Autumn's Fixate cookbook. So after you've put everything into a small container, shake it up, and then you're ready to go. So the final item is the steel cut oatmeal. To make the oatmeal, you spray with non-stick spray to prevent items from sticking to the side. Then 1.5 cups of oatmeal. Next is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, teaspoon of cinnamon, about a quarter cup of brown sugar, or you can use maple syrup. I've seen people use maple syrup, but I've always just used the brown sugar. Then you can add your milk and water. Now I'm adding 3/4 teaspoons vanilla. And that is it. Cover it up, turn it to low, and enjoy in the morning. All the recipes that I got online will be linked below. Subscribe to my channel to see the final results for the recipes that I prepped today.